Breaking news right now, another police pursuit that is ongoing right now, a speeding suspect. Right now, as we take a look out of SkyCal, trying to get a clear picture because it is very dark right now. But in Orange County, it looks like is where this pursuit is ongoing at the moment. But quite a crazy situation.
A crazy situation. Our second pursuit of the night. We know that this is for a speeding suspect. That is the want in this situation. I believe we have Dave Avila with us on the phone right now. Dave, any information that you've been able to get, as we've jumped on here, as we track this through a very dark freeway?
Not much. I just got notified a little bit later than usual, and that was just that they've been on this now for, I know, for about 20 minutes that I'm aware of. But right now it's just speeding. You know how the chippies are. They're going to go ahead and stay with the suspect as far as much as they can.
Yeah, early indications were that this started around the Santa Monica area, or at least it was in the Santa Monica area. That's where we were being told early. But right now on the southbound 405, exceeding, I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing is like the counter on the top right of your screen will say over 100 miles an hour, and they very well could be going that fast. It's just as we keep up with this with the situation. It is a contrast, Dave, to what the pursuit we were covering earlier, where it was exclusively on surface streets, and now the dynamic on the interstate on the interstate is just wildly different with the speeds and with everything else that's going on, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is totally separate from the other one. Like I said, every pursuit's just different from each one. This one here. I'm sorry, I was trying to get some information.
No worries. If we can, talk. If we need to give you a second, Dave, to maybe listen in, let us, just kind of give people that are just now joining us maybe some perspective here as we watch that CHP officer get pretty close to that vehicle as they fly down the freeway of, believe those speeds are somewhere around 100. Again, that speedometer can sometimes get a little wonky, but again, very, very fast on the freeways. It is a Saturday night, but thankfully does not appear to be very much traffic. And it looks like people who are in those lanes nearby are trying to, get out of the way because this could be a potentially dangerous situation.
And worth pointing out as well, similar to a lot of other situations, we don't know if it's more than one person in the vehicle, if it's just one person in the vehicle, whether it's a man or a woman. So obviously right now this is just an ongoing situation, again, on the 405 southbound right now. And really so far we've only seen one CHP cruiser. I mean, I'm sure there are many more that are obviously monitoring the situation. But within the frame of reference that we have here, one CHP cruiser, one suspect vehicle, and staying pretty close behind. So we'll see how much longer they stay on the interstate and keep this going, or if they take the tried and true, for lack of a better word, method of getting off on an exit to an area they're familiar with, and then this, the dynamics change on a pursuit like this.
Dave, were you able to get any information? We know that you're tracking this for us as well, giving us your perspective as a former law enforcement officer, obviously very well versed in these kinds of situations right now, as we appear that CHP is not going to let this one up.
No, it's the same thing that you just put right now. It started around Santa Monica area. For speeding, I thought that maybe they had a little bit more on it, but nothing that I'm aware of. Okay. But yes, you can see the desperation in this suspect. Up to 100, it was up to 114 miles per hour, trying to get away from this CHP officer. And we know that CHP is all up and down the coast, so he can continue down, or that suspect, I should say, can continue down the 405 all they want, but they'll just leapfrog the black and whites behind it and eventually get that air unit overhead.
Dave, I have a question when it comes to this particular situation when so far we know that it's a speeding suspect. So this is directly related to speeding. It's not assault. It's not anything else that I guess we could sort of deem a little bit more quote unquote dangerous. What I guess my question would be, why continue a pursuit when it's just speeding as opposed to taking down the information, sort of peeling back and letting them sort of slow down with the idea that they got away, as opposed to, getting up and close and carrying this thing on?
Yeah, every department has their own tactics on how to do it, but it goes right back to the factors that have to be considered, and always the number one that comes up is public safety. So that's what they're they're looking at, the risk versus the chase here, and they're saying that is it a threat to the public safety? Yes, they'll stay on it. Now, we know that CHP has gotten over the years, and I got to say this, they've gotten a lot more aggressive than what they used to be. And I mean, kudos to them for this. We have other departments that, LAPD, I know my LAPD, they would probably, if it was on the streets and if it was just chasing or if it was just a GTA only, that's a crime against property. We've seen them where they would just pull off completely, pull the air unit off. But CHP has their own technique, so that's why I think they stay with them, because they could see that they're staying right up with the suspect. So it's a call on their watch commander, someone that'll eventually call it off.
Sure.
Which we rarely see.
Yeah, Dave, because that was my next question for you here. As we see that officer almost pull up, next to this guy, you're obviously running plates on this person. There's no indication that this is a stolen vehicle. So the information that they're getting, as we see another CHP officer come into frame there behind this pursuit. But, maybe you're learning more about this individual as time goes on, maybe a warrant or something to that effect. I mean, could they be getting more information on this than maybe we are privy to at this point in the chase?
Oh, definitely. They ran the vehicle, they ran the plate. It may not have come back stolen. It may have come back what we would call a code 6 Charles. That's, a felony want on it. We don't know yet, but that's what they're discussing. They're probably discussing it with the watch commander as they're pursuing this vehicle, saying, okay, let's go ahead and we'll stick with it. So we don't know what exactly other than the speeding that we have on it. But, CHP, that's their job. I mean, they're supposed to take care of these speeders for us. And as long as they deem it safe to continue the pursuit for public safety, they'll do just that.
And it seems like we'll just maintain sort of this exact trajectory that we've been on for the last 5+ minutes, right? Where if he, or I should say the suspect, is just going to ride this out on the 405 or on any other freeway, CHP more than happy to just kind of hang around and let them decide when to stop. Is that a fair description?
Yeah, they'll stay with them. We're still south on the 405. I've had pursuits 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, where we've caught them in LA City, and we jump on the 405 or the 5, and we end up going all the way to the border down to Camp Pendleton after the suspect. It may be what the situation is here, because it looks like this suspect here at over 100 miles per hour has no intentions of getting off that freeway.
Talk about the safety, that they're keeping in mind right now as we see them kind of make those maneuvers where they, got to the right-hand side of the lanes of traffic and then started coasting back into the middle. I mean, everybody's been driving down the freeway, and the moment that you have that very shocking, see somebody in your rearview mirror and they just pass you by speeding, those CHP officers have to be aware, I assume, of anything, of a car running into their lane of traffic, something to that extent. So they're weighing all of the risks right now, including, of course, utmost is public safety.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where that risk versus the pursuit. And we'll see, just to see if they should stay with it or not. And like I said, they got black and whites all up and down the state. So it's difficult to compare CHP with any other type of agency because of the freeway situation. They're wide, they're straight, they go forever, and that's the CHP job. Now, one thing the CHP usually doesn't do is that they like to just maintain their own units on this, like most agencies, meaning that they don't like to commingle unless it's necessary, unless there's exigent circumstances, shots fired, that sort of foot pursuit at the end, something like that.
Yeah.
Then they'll request a backup.
Does it appear those CHP officers have backed off, Dave? Can you tell? I don't see them anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask too.
Yeah, I think they have, and I'm just getting word right now that they believe they pulled off, but I'm not sure. Okay. I can't say that for sure. I think they may still be on it, but what they may do is just be way back there.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say the other point I was going to make was that for a while there, up until these last 30 seconds or so, traffic was rather light. So it was just a matter of easy to reach top speeds of 100+ miles an hour or so. And now it's sort of hit a tiny bit of a roadblock. At least it looks like there was some backup, traffic backup. But now this suspect is going to continue on. But I mean, and Dave, I'm curious your thought as to could this be just a way of CHP saying, okay, well, let's just peel back, maybe give him the suspect perhaps a false sense of security. Never mind. Then in that case, they're right there.
He did slow down though.
He did.
That's
why I was bringing it up, for the potential of maybe they think he'll slow down and then kind of wrap this up on his own end.
Yeah, and the other thing they may have been doing is trading off with another division, one that's further down the freeway. They can do that. They can just leapfrog this all the way down to the border. So, yeah, that's. I thought, well, maybe, the thing with them is they may have tried the tracking mode just to see if he would slow down, or I should say that suspect, he or she, would slow down, but they never went under 100. So why just wait? Just jump back on it. It'll help the citizens. When they look in the rearview mirror, they see those lights coming. They know to be cautious when that black and white comes towards them, if they have enough time to see it.
All right, so for those of you just now joining us here at 11:15 or so, we are tracking what is a CHP pursuit down the 405. This is a person that is wanted for speeding. At this point, that is all we know about the situation and about the individual. And Dave is joining us here with some background and giving us his own knowledge of these kind of pursuits. And Dave, right now, we still don't know if there's more than one person in the car. All of the things right now that CHP is checking on as they run those plates, they are just trying to figure out who this person is and what kind of a threat they pose aside from putting them on a high-speed chase.
Yeah, exactly, Hunter. I mean, you called it. It's what is causing this desperation? Are they running from a crime? Were they involved in some sort of shooting? They don't know. And that's the one thing about the chippies. They get involved in all this stuff, and they're just like any other agency where they got to use extreme caution on this because they have no idea other than the speeding violation, if that's all they have right now. But yeah, I mean, we don't know we don't have any idea how many people are in that vehicle, if it's one or more, if they were involved in a some type of armed robbery or anything like that. I think we can rule out carjacking. I'm pretty sure I've got some calls on that as a possibility, but they said no, that they couldn't verify that.
Yeah, still on the 405 southbound. It looks like right now reaching speeds of upwards of 100+ miles an hour, and honestly, just. I was going to say, Dave, as we maintain the eye on this, the proximity of the CHP vehicle to the suspect, it really does go back to the public safety aspect of what you were saying, because granted, we're fortunate enough not to have that much traffic on the freeway right now, but it really does serve as a strong, hey, keep an eye as to what's going on, because if this car was just flying by at 100+ miles an hour, Lord knows we've all been in situations like that where we run into vehicles that are going well above the speed limit and you don't know where they're coming from, and if you were just in one lane over, God knows what would have happened. But at least with this, you can keep an eye on those lights coming up behind you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why if you're going to have a suspect going at these speeds, I'd rather see a black and white behind them or especially an air unit overhead. And if you notice, they have another black and white that joined them that they're actually going to leapfrog, but the initial pursuing unit did go ahead and take over the #1 position. But he does have a backup real close to him. So there may be a reason for that also. I mean, you would want a backup with you anyway. But they may be getting some information that this suspect may be involved in the crime.
So let's talk about what's going through CHP's, heads right now as they are trying to decide what to do. Obviously, right now, just staying on top of this car, but also trying to get as much information about the person as they can. I mean, is this a situation where we could, see them potentially getting an ID, trying to call relatives, trying to figure out if maybe they know that he's going to a certain location, either in Orange County, even San Diego County, if they are able to get, anything on this person? Is that what's happening right now behind the scenes?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the station has all the information, so they're the ones that'll be on the phone right now trying to contact the owners of the vehicle to verify that it's not a stolen or, in some cases, we've called people and said, hey, is your vehicle still there? They go, yeah, it's out in the parking lot. They go out there, no, it's gone. So it may be something like that. So I'm just kind of just looking at what they're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, going in between those lanes.
Like constant lane switching. I mean, at times, one of the things that I've noticed is just that this suspect, repeated use of turn signals.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the most, like, energy we've seen out of this guy, except for the speeds. Like, he's not doing...
It's interesting. Hard to get into the mind of folks behind the wheels in this type of situation, especially when you have two in one night, and things can be radically different on a case-by-case basis. It's just that, and it looks like we might be on the looks on the 5 and the 405, but still southbound. At least that's what it looks like. But it's been very consistent. That's the thing about this entire pursuit so far since we've jumped on air with it close to 20 minutes ago, is that nothing has really changed in terms of the dynamics. And Dave, you were saying earlier that this could very well, sometimes these things last 5-10 minutes. Other times they go all the way down to the border. They last multiple hours, right?
We had one that went to the border yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had one. I did that a couple of times during my time at Air Support. Black and whites, we usually just cut it off and give it to the chippies, but then we pull off of it. We eventually make the arrest if it was for LAPD, but in air unit, we would just take it all the way to the border. The furthest south I ever got was Camp Pendleton, though. I never actually went to the border.
And is that really just a matter of, I guess I'm curious as to when it gets that long, what is finally the deciding factor as to what causes it to end? Is it the driver running out of gas? Is it something else? Says now, all right, here we go. It looks like the dynamics might be changing.
Yeah, I mean, we may be in an area that we are now familiar with. That was kind of a strange place to exit.
And it's interesting, they are not giving him any room back there as we see him make that U-turn.
Nope.
Wow. Through a busy street, people are waiting. Obviously, CHP going to be aggressive with this. They're not backing off. I mean, Dave, what right now is the MO? Do they just kind of keep following and hope he gives himself up?
Well, this may change things. They may the surrounding city may now be, South Coast may be appraised as to what's going on as far as the pursuit, which I'm sure they are. So their black and whites are in the vicinity. They know what's going on with the chippies. If they stays off the road long enough, the chippies will request the local agency to take it over. But it does change things, though. I mean, we may be looking at maybe a pit attempt. If we get that, if they can get that close, because traffic is kind of light here for now that we can see.
Does it look like he's getting back on the freeway? It's hard. We were so zoomed in there for a second.
Yeah, the speeds have picked up quite a bit. So we've sort of reset now a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Strange move.
Very strange, considering that it was one of the quicker exits to then come right back off, and we might be doing it again.
Exiting again.
Yeah. He may be playing games, just trying to get off the freeway and then trying to lose the black and whites. He's not going to do that. I mean, like you both said before, they're both right on him now. I mean, both of them are right on him. Or I should say the suspect. I keep doing that.
Well, and again, it's hard to tell. We know this started in Santa Monica. We still don't know, aside from speeding, if there's anything else that this person is wanted on, or if there's more than one person in that car, as it appears that they are taking another turn here. But CHP right there on their tail. I mean, would they try a pit maneuver if there's no cars around, if they can get the speed right?
If they have a backup, which this initiating unit does, they may go ahead and try that. They may request the local PD to join them, so then they could try it also. But like I said, they like to just keep their own people involved in it, so we'll see what happens. But they may. I mean, we're perfect location.
Yeah, and it's worth highlighting again. I mean, the fact that we're looking at, we're just in Mission Viejo briefly, but South Coast, I mean, from Santa Monica to there is quite the distance that we've already covered, even if we've only been on air with it for about 20 minutes now, Dave. So I guess it's worth, sort of repeating the question here in terms of if this does continue to go on, what tends to be the outlying reason as to why a pursuit wraps up if it goes on for this long, or I should say if it stretches the distance on a freeway for that long? Is it because the driver runs out of gas? Is it because they just sort of give up, or is it for some other reason?
I've had it both ways. I've had it where they just finally gave up. And I keep mentioning the air unit because we had one that went down to Pendleton, and we said, you know what, we're getting a little low on fuel. We got to pull off. And the second we pulled off, the suspect pulled over to the side and took off on foot. I don't believe an air unit on this yet. Hopefully we can get one on it. So I think right now they may be trying to decide what they're doing. They may be on the phone with somebody that's going to try and help them out. And right now they're just buying time.
It is so interesting to know what we know, at least at this point, which is the bare minimum, that, speeding was what this person was, accused of. But, earlier, wow, as we see CHP have to kind of get in the other lane before getting back behind him. But, I mean, these speeds are high. This is even though the freeway's clear, this is a high-risk situation, that could take a turn very quickly here. But it does appear, I mean, that this person, you wonder what it is, like you said earlier, Dave. What are they running from that is so, important to them to get away, to reach these speeds, to get off the freeway, do the U-turns, get back on the freeway? Especially
if speeding really is just the only reason, because we just all had natural questions as to if it's just speeding and that's the only offense, it seems rather extreme to then elevate it to this degree. Are we fair in that thinking?
Well, no, but no, you're fair in it, absolutely. But then it's like I say, it could be something as simple as it could be a second striker. It could be somebody that knows that if they get caught, they're going to get arrested for other things that they've done. So I believe in, as far as the other thing too is we've actually seen some suspects get away. One thing I have noticed, the black and white there, we just looked at it, the overheads are off.
He's done that a couple times, turned it off for a second, and then...
Maybe they're trying to de-escalate the system. I mean, the pursuit, that might be it. He even hit his brakes right now.
Wow.
So maybe that's their version of just trying to track it or trying to de-escalate it. Maybe the siren off, the overheads off. Yeah. He has his rear ambers on now.
Because that was my question there, Dave. At what point do they go into tracking mode if CHP is going to, make the call? What does that look like? What process do you make to say, yeah, we're just going to maybe hold off on this, give him some room and see what he does?
Yeah, exactly. But it's a lot easier when you have an air unit overhead, because then you can just back way off. But
and you're
with
saying
this,
they don't have one yet?
I have not seen one, and I'm still waiting for the call, but I have not seen one yet.
Yeah, and now we're just keeping an eye on this CHP cruiser just directly behind. I mean, there are times where it gets real close, as we're still on the 405 southbound, and a pursuit that started all the way over in Santa Monica, making its way down here is quite the stretch, but highlights just the longevity of it, on top of could be desperation. You can choose your adjective as to how we describe the suspect. Wanted for speeding in this situation. Again, we tried to get a closer look at the vehicle at certain points when it's jumped up off the exit and onto surface streets, but we haven't been able to make out if it's anything more than just the driver right now. But another thing, I haven't noticed any damage either to this vehicle. Everything seems very straightforward in the sense that this is just ongoing and has pretty much just been what you're seeing right now for as long as we have been on air with it.
And it is, I mean, need to note here that while this guy's been pretty consistent, he's also been going very, very fast for the entirety of the time that we have been on this pursuit. So we just saw things, if that was accurate, reaching upwards of 110 miles per hour. I mean, how does the dynamic change if they hit a traffic spot, if there's, a car that maybe doesn't notice what's going on and changes lanes in the middle of this guy? I mean, there's so many factors here that CHP is having to be aware of right now as they balance public safety and a pursuit. But Dave, this does feel very straightforward, and right now we're just kind of waiting to see, if something's going to happen that triggers this guy to either pull off again, or he's driving now what appears in the is he in the shoulder or is he in the carpool lane? It's hard to tell.
He's straddling.
Okay.
Yeah, looks like he was straddling the line.
So obviously somebody that is not shying away from these high speeds, that's for sure.
No, and we kind of, I truly believe he thought he was going to try and shake the black and whites by getting off the freeway that couple of times where he went off in the, I don't know if it was pure luck that he found his way back on the freeway, but he's definitely not slowing down at all. No, we're still over 100 miles per hour. So he may have a place he's going to.
Yeah.
The border may be it. It wouldn't be the first time.
You just got to wonder what the plan is here. If you've been driving for this long, where are you going?
Yeah, it does seem like, to Dave's point, that overall there was a thought, as much as we can attribute a thought in a situation like this, of disappearing or rather getting away from officers by getting off the exit. But then when he realized, or the suspect realized, that there were multiple units behind, immediately, then there was an immediate U-turn back onto the freeway. So that would indicate
he's not taking chances.
None. And really, it feels like, Dave, a suspect in this case, if there's any sense of quote unquote control, they feel a stronger sense of control in this environment, which is 100+ miles an hour on long stretches of freeway, because theoretically that could go on forever.
That's a good point, because it's, the adrenaline obviously is pumping in the suspect. I mean, that's there, and you're right. This is almost a point where you would think that the suspect has time to think of what they want to do. Whereas with the law enforcement, yeah, adrenaline's pumping, but the adrenaline is, they know how to funnel that. They've gone through so much pursuit training before with the, and it's called the EVOC training. It's the Emergency Vehicle Operations Course. It's state mandated through the Peace Officers Standards and Training, where they have to receive 40 hours of training in pursuit policy, safe vehicle handling, and also it includes practical application of the pit maneuver. But I say that state mandate is 40 hours. Every department has their own rules. They may go another 10, another 15 hours of pursuit training, which I think is what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Not real sure how many hours, but yeah. So it's what my point is that the adrenaline, is there, but with law enforcement, but they know how to manage it. They're skilled in it. It's not their first, as they say, it's not their first rodeo, especially CHP.
Right.
But it seems like all units now. But there's a lot of training that goes on. Right? So there's a lot of talking going on right now with the watch commander and the unit that's in pursuit.
And it is fascinating to watch him, just choose to stay on this so aggressively for what the original want is. Now, again, we don't know if they've been able to learn more information that we just haven't been able to figure out since this all started, we believe, around the Santa Monica area for that speeding. But Dave, this is also, as you talk about that training, the adrenaline, I mean, this suspect, again, so unpredictable in terms of where they're going, if they've got a destination in mind, or if they just kind of hope that eventually these CHP officers are just going to back off. But it does appear, and you were mentioning this, that CHP is pretty aggressive when they get in their heads that they want to, follow somebody, that they're going to stay with this as long as they can. Is that right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Like I mentioned, they really changed their ways over the years, and I really like the way they handling stuff now. Like staying with this, they got 2 black and whites on it, and
it looked like another leapfrog, like you were talking about earlier, that this guy taken over for the guy that's now falling back a bit. So, fresh eyes, fresh set of, hands on the wheel. This could be something that, we'll see if he gets a little closer.
And it is also interesting to watch it happen in real time, right? Because this is at least the second or third time that we've seen that handoff happen. And even going back to the pursuit we were covering earlier from that textbook pit maneuver, like seeing all of this happening in real time, Dave, I think highlights also as well the minutia, the training, the details that goes into, and the logistics that goes into a pursuit like this, even if you're not really thinking about it actively.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, these black and whites on here, they're more familiar with the area, the surrounding area, the streets and things like that. If the suspect were to exit, where the shopping centers are, that sort of thing. It's a big benefit for them to have fresh eyes on it, sure, and officers that are more familiar with the area.
It appears this officer is getting a little bit closer than maybe some of the other ones that we've seen, despite just how, going just as fast. So it's interesting also to see kind of the different approaches when you get that switch out. And then obviously if they're forming a plan right now to try and maybe get this guy to just give up, but it doesn't appear that he's going to exit, like we saw earlier with that weird exit, U-turn, get back on the freeway immediately. But it appears this guy, again, is just not going to give up as it gets a little busier there out on the freeway.
Yeah, I think you're right, Hunter. I mean, he got off, or that suspect got off the freeway, tried it once, tried it twice. Hey, this is not working. This isn't the usual where they pull off and I can get off the freeway and drive into a multi-structure parking lot and get away. That's just not happening here.
Not at all. And on top of all this, it's the fact that they are ready to stretch this out as long as humanly possible, which of course the natural end, I mean, the furthest this could possibly stretch is running out of gas and the border, right? It's the only two ways, because right now, and this is the other thing, that we've been on the 405 now for a good stretch of time. And it looked like we were southbound for the front end of this pursuit when we broke in. Now we're northbound. It's just, and that goes back to the circling of exits and coming on back. So it's just.
So now we're north.
We're on the same stretch of road here. This isn't like one of those pursuits, Dave, where we see them constantly switching freeways and exits and, we're on the 5, then we're on the 405, then we're going somewhere else. This has been a very, very sort of straight and narrow path. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, maybe he's heading back to where he's going to feel comfortable, decided, hey, this isn't working, maybe thinking that I would just floor it and go and they would just let me go because I'm going so fast. And now,
it's jarring to see this. I don't know why, right now, well, then he just, backed off and turned his lights off.
Yeah, when they get really close.
But they get real close, you can really
yeah.
tell just how fast they're going. And I mean, these people on the roads got to be thinking, what is going on? And of course, their safety is what CHP is also having to balance right now, not knowing, where this guy is and his head, guy or gal. Still waiting for those details. Still waiting to hear if there's more than one person in the vehicle. Still waiting to hear if the, maybe more that they're wanted on than that initial speeding violation. So still a lot of questions here. Have we been able to figure out exactly what kind of car it is, Dave?
No, I have not. I mean, it's been in the dark here for so long. Yeah. And they haven't even got back to me on that. So I don't think they're not passing the information on.
It is interesting, though, to see it go on for this long and there still be that lack of information coming out, from officials. But like you said, the watch command right now making those decisions on what to do with this, pursuit. But it appears not telling anybody to back off.
No. Yeah, and I think they're going to just stay right on it. I just don't see them pulling off now, especially since this suspect is heading back northbound. Yeah, got off, did a couple of loops, and got around.
It's consistent. I think that's the one word that could probably highlight this whole thing so far. But worth repeating the details once again, because we are past the half-hour mark here at 11:36 on this Saturday evening. But we know this is a pursuit that started around the Santa Monica area, the one sedan that you're looking at right there in the middle of your screen. We know that there's a suspect wanted for speeding. Once again, as Hunter pointed out, we don't know if there's any more than just the driver in that vehicle. So as of right now, it's at least one person in the car. At various points, this was southbound on the 405. We are still on the 405 right now. Looks like we're going northbound right now. And just to give you an idea of just how far we've stretched, I mean, at one point we're in Mission Viejo after a pursuit that started in Santa Monica. So it's many, many miles that we've covered so far, Dave. And really the picture that folks are seeing if they're watching right now has been the consistent picture so far throughout the course of this chase.
And another thing, Dave, that, we want you to weigh in on here is just the dynamics of a pursuit that reaches speeds of consistent triple digits. We have seen very high rates here, but CHP is the agency that if there's going to be one that stays close behind and doesn't give up, it appears it's going to be CHP.
Yes, absolutely. I think they've proven that over here the last couple of years, actually. And, one thing I used to mention was that, and I tell my friends and family this, is that it's if you're on the freeway and you see these people coming at you really fast, or if you see something like this, I just tell them, and this is my own personal thing. no extra no training, nothing like that. Just kind of like, just stay in your lane, hold on to the steering wheel, maintain your speed. In other words, let them go around you and get away from you.
That's such good tips there, because I think about it all the time as we do these pursuits, Dave. I'm always like, what would what do? You want to get out of the way, obviously. If you're on a surface level street, maybe that's different. You can pull over easier. But when you're going 70, 75 miles an hour and you see this in your rearview mirror, it's a really good tip to remind people that, to just stay calm, let CHP do what they do best, which is, like you said, just maneuver around you.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there on the freeway when it's not a pursuit and you're sitting there and you're on the freeway, you're doing 70 miles per hour, 75, whatever, and all of a sudden somebody comes by you like you're standing still.
Crazy.
And you had no idea they were coming.
Right.
No,
but that's why I like the black and white behind them. At least that causes some attention.
And more than one, at least, that we're seeing on screen there too. And the fact that, as Dave mentioned, you get hours and hours of training if you were law enforcement on this type of situation, but you often don't get put in many situations as a driver, as a pedestrian, as anybody else who is sharing the road here. You really don't want to be caught in situations like that. So when it does happen, if you are in those, that's good advice to just maintain awareness, keep your hands on the wheel, and don't do anything crazy. So we'll continue to monitor the situation, and really, anytime it dips below 100, you kind of take a sigh of at least a little bit of a breath in terms of, is this maybe when they're finally slowing down? Is there, Dave, when it comes to the logistics of this, because we've seen it a couple times, and even just recently, as about a minute ago, where that CHP vehicle gets sort of right up close to the very tail end of that car. Is that just sort of a warning type of maneuver, or is there some other ulterior motive to get that close to the suspect before then backing off a bit again?
They may be trying to just see if they could spot anybody else inside the vehicle, anything like that. But I think it's kind of a two-pronged thing. I mean, I'm not real familiar with the tactic that they're doing there, but I can understand it definitely from a cop's point of view. You're on top of that suspect. You're letting them know that you are right there. You're not going anywhere. We're not letting you go. So, you got to eventually this is going to finally end. Don't, they're getting the message. The suspect is getting the message. This is not going to end. We're not going to pull off. You're not going to get away and take off and go hide somewhere. So that may be a tactic that they use, maybe a complete opposite of the trailing of them.
Yeah.
So.
Little bit of information here I'm getting from our producer that said LA County's confirmed an unidentified white car was apparently at some point during this chase following very close behind. I believe maybe even following the pursuit car as well. They were, I believe, wanting to maybe question or try to figure out if that unidentified white car had something to do with this individual, but they have not been able to locate that vehicle. So kind of a weird piece of information to this, that there may have been another unidentified vehicle involved at some point during this chase, but now it appears they are trying to track that person down to see maybe what they know or why they were following the car, as well as law enforcement continue this through what appears again, to just be reaching those speeds of upwards of 100 miles an hour, as CHP is not letting up.
And the other thing here is that now it looks like we're, Long Beach, Lakewood area, again, still hovering around on the 405, just maintaining that stretch of road on the freeway, and nothing has changed. There hasn't even been any close attempt, at least from our perspective, the last 10 minutes or so, of trying to get off on an exit. And I hope I say that, and it doesn't mean he's about to start doing it again, because when it happened the last two times, it was about as brief as you can imagine, of getting onto those streets and then turning right back around, jumping back on the freeway. So this has been the image that we have been maintaining the entire time, and really has not.
You got to wonder, though, if there was a strategy there to going the opposite direction. I mean, he maybe found himself getting into the San Diego, route, and thought,
and then figured turn right back
maybe
around.
Let's go back where I know, more familiar with. Maybe he's going back to Santa Monica.
Well, especially now too, when you have the dynamic of an unidentified white car, like something else like that feels so that's tangential, but at the same time feels weirdly disconnected as well.
Could be anything, yeah.
Dave, as they figure out that part of the information, by now it's very clear, assuming this is that the suspect is the car owner as well. They have all the information on this person already by their side, correct? That now it's really the only thing left is just the pursuit at hand. Everything else is already in the books and known?
Yeah, I mean, they got everything that they could possibly get. They have it by now. And who knows, maybe they found that other vehicle that they believe was possibly involved with it. So maybe they were, sometimes the victims are chasing the suspect, or it's an additional suspect that, we just don't know at this point. But I mean, when you think about the area that we've covered from Santa Monica down to San Clemente area, and now we're heading back north.
Yeah, now we're Wilmington, Compton area. So you're right. Yeah, we have really just started stretching right back around. And so sort of, I almost want to call it a circle, but it's hard to make a circle when you're just on the same exact road. That you're just kind of retracing your own steps. On the right side of your screen, for those of you watching, this is what we were talking about. Where earlier the suspect pulled off of the freeway, got off on an exit, and reaches these surface streets, and you see the turn onto traffic. And this is the slowest it ever got at any given point before eventually, you'll see it here in just a second, suspect realizes, okay, I guess I'm just going to turn this right back around and get right back on the freeway. And so begins, once again, the live picture that you see on the left side of your screen. So
that's really the only action, Dave, that we've had this entire, at least as long as we've been watching it, which has been for the last 44 minutes at least. But this guy is really stuck to his MO.
Yes. I mean, that's just what his MO is. None of us are really sure, but now he's heading back to, I guess he's going to be familiar. I mean, this started Santa Monica area, so that's probably where now I'm thinking, okay, everything's changed. Okay, now we're heading back northbound, and maybe head for the same area.
And that might just be a matter of comfort, right, David? That we always go back and follow back to you in terms of, all right, let's get to an area where maybe we can make, because this is based on experience as well. You get to situations where they're looking for a friend or someone to swap out a car, or maybe get under an overpass, or get into a neighborhood that I'm familiar with, jump out on foot. The dynamics then turn incredibly crazy because all the variables, you start adding all this extra stuff. Whereas right now, it's it's a very basic equation as to what we're looking at right now versus what could happen if this suspect decides to, finally jump off the freeway at some point.
Yeah, and hopefully, it's much. I mean, it's late enough where I usually say I'd rather see the pursuits on the freeway than on the streets for obvious reasons. Stoplights, pedestrians, that sort of thing. But we're kind of late in the evening now, so the freeways are lightened up now. I mean, like right now, I mean, to me, this would be the best bet. I mean, as far as a pursuit goes, they're all dangerous. And let's not forget, at 100 miles per hour, if you accidentally pat the left rear or the right rear of a vehicle in front of you, you're going to send that vehicle spinning. That's what really scares me. So this is such a dangerous type pursuit, even though it looks like, the suspect's staying clear of everybody else. Yeah. You have the black and whites there. It's still and we all know that. It's an extremely dangerous pursuit.
Always, but it is, you get kind of, after 46 minutes of watching the same thing, you get a little comfortable in terms of thinking like, oh, this is just standard, what we've seen is what we've got. But you're right, in the blink of an eye, all it takes is one person being startled by, this car going 108, 12, 15, 19 miles an hour, and they accidentally swerve into their line of driving, and then we've got a very different scene. So that's the reminder here right now as we watch this move into the Harbor Gateway area of the 405 northbound, that this is still a very dangerous high-speed situation that CHP is not backing down from.
And it's not just the any unsuspecting driver who's on the 405 right now going home or going somewhere else and not expecting this gigantic chase to be swerving or flying right past them, but it's for the suspect's own safety as well. At any given point, we've seen the worst of crashes and the worst of slips into concrete barriers and all the like. So it's just as dangerous for the suspect here as it is for anybody else that's on the road. As now, we get to Torrance here, and I mean, I think Dave, you're right in the sense that if this started around Santa Monica, we are about as close back there now compared to where we were just, 20, 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, already back to Torrance area, heading back up there. So we'll see what this suspect is going to do here. I'm kind of curious when he gets up a little bit further north towards LA. He's going to take the 110, if grab another freeway, or just continue all the way up to the 10.
And right now, Dave, as we look at CHP that's been on this the entire time, obviously they're not going to hand this off to another agency unless it gets off the freeway and into somebody else's jurisdiction. But they have chosen to follow this as we see them in that far left-hand lane. And talk about that training that, they see year after year, but also the change in their approach to these types of car chases. They have gotten more aggressive, it appears, from what you've been telling us in recent years.
Yes. They we didn't really see, well, we've seen this kind of pursuit with them, and I'm talking years and years ago. But I mean, their pit maneuvers, their spike maneuvers. I mean, they get officers out there, and it's I mean, they're law enforcement, and they just have, like I said, every department has its own textbook. I mean, what they follow. That's why most departments, not just the CHP, like to have their own people involved in this, but other agencies do too, until the very end. And then in that case, you want as many units there. You don't care the color of the uniform or the shape of the badge. You want backup. But with this one here, I mean, it's and with the training, and even with the pit maneuvers, they look so effortlessly. I mean, they look smooth. They look, and that's through hours and hours of training. Every individual officer, law enforcement officer in the state of California gets that. Like I said, at least minimum 40, but usually more than that. So it's, and this technique, I mean, they stay back a little bit, and then they get right on the suspect. And if you notice, they get right on the driver's side. So that driver gets a good view of their headlights, flashing back their black. I was thinking that they had the wigwag, the headlights that flash back and forth, but they do not. But they see the light bar, and they see the red lights flashing. And so I think that's a technique they use to try and get this suspect that, hey, it's over, it's done, we're not going anywhere. Okay, we're going to be with you the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. And that you would think that, with just how many, we've seen a lot of the leapfrogging of different cars, different CHP officers switching out, potentially helping with that fatigue of following this for so long. But we're thinking, when are they going to run out of gas?
Well, I mean, the other thing we also have to think about right now, because we are in Inglewood and it looks like Hawthorne area as well, that, LAX airspace is not that far away from where we are right now. So it's just a fair warning, because we're noticing, at least I'm noticing, how we're zoomed out a bit. That's just something we have to keep an eye on. So if we do have to break away from it for a bit and reestablish a visual at least a little bit later on, just know that for those of you watching at home, that's why SkyCal can't get a touch closer in certain instances, is because we are getting close to LAX airspace just based on the map that we're looking at right now. But, still very much on that path, still on the 405 back up to the Santa Monica area where this thing sort of started. And, just keeping an eye on this, it is... you hate to just kind of fall back on the same type of playbook that we always do. But Dave, it's so, there's a reason it's a cliche. There's a reason it's a playbook. It's very likely that this person tries to go back to, where they're most familiar with, and then try to, play their game again and see if this is the opportunity to sort of lose them. Not that they will, but, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of late at this time of the hour. Things are slowing down into LAX, so they could, ATC, air traffic controller, if there's nobody inbound, they may go ahead and just let our ship just follow the pursued northbound to 405. That's been done before. And, of course, even with LAPD ships and sheriffs, we still got to abide by the same rules, but we can get into what's called Class Bravo. And if you can picture this, just like the 105 north to the 10, that's all kind of Class Bravo. It's a different shape, but I can't get into all that on the air. But it kind of gives you an idea of, and all that is just protect the heavies coming in, the big jets,
right?
Just to keep the helicopters out of the way. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll let us squeeze in there. They may not.
Yeah. Well, and again, as we see this person driving the far shoulder, it's getting a little more crowded here in this area of the freeway. We're seeing a lot more cars than we were, and not necessarily seeing CHP quite as close as they have been, but that does not mean that they're being any less aggressive on this chase. I mean, I'm curious here, when it comes to, getting into areas that are more populated, if that's going to maybe kind of change the approach here from CHP as they try to keep everybody, protected. They've got to weigh, obviously, public safety above all else.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about. We had talked about earlier. It's all about public. This is why we have this, is for public safety, and just to make them aware of what's going on. We have this one car with the blinker, and thank God they moved.
Have you been able to tell if they put any of their air resources above? Is it just still the chopper from our news following?
As much as I know, that's it.
Okay.
I've been waiting for a call or something to see that maybe they're going to launch one, because we have, and it's what, Saturday night?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And they usually have 2, maybe 3. I'm talking LAPD has 2, maybe 3 ships up, but it's the city of LA.
Yeah.
You got officer backup calls, you got 211s, 459s, you got a lot of stuff going on. And they're not able to pull off for the CHP pursuit. So that may be one reason why I don't see one of them overhead.
Yeah, still going upwards of 100 to 110, 20 miles an hour, assuming the speedometer is correct in timing all of that out right now. But still ongoing, as we're getting into. It looks like we were getting close to Marina Del Rey. We're obviously in Inglewood, Westchester area. It's just still. We keep using the word consistent because that's just what it is on the 405 here for this suspect. Every time we zoom in,
is it a blue car?
Hard to tell.
It's so tough.
Yeah, because
because
of the darkness. Yeah. But still using the turn signals.
Polite as he leads us on this high-speed chase for over an hour.
Yeah, though I wonder now if are we
exiting?
Maybe, no, not entirely sure. Certainly a lot more cram there, though, Hunter, to your point earlier about traffic and everything else slowing things down just a bit. It looks blue, though,
It does look blue, and obviously they've been able to run those plates, because if you're just now joining us here at almost midnight, we're following this chase that started in Santa Monica. It looks like it could be returning to that same area, as this car is wanted for speeding originally. We can see CHP as those officers close behind, but we still don't know how many individuals are in the car, if there is another, information they've been able to figure out about another crime that this person has committed, which has made it where they've elevated this to the point of wanting to stay with it for upwards of an hour, because we've only been following it now for 55 minutes, but it was going on well before we were able to get, over it ourselves.
And now just picking up speed again as it gets sort of a breakaway. But it looks like we switched over, Dave, now to the 10 eastbound.
Yes.
So I think you made a mention of that, whether or not he would jump on the 10 or stay on the 405. Looks like the decision has been made.
Yeah. He's heading back. He's been heading back towards LA. So he's leaving Santa Monica. So he may just be making one giant loop. I mean, pretty much everybody knows the freeway, so he could take the 10 to the southbound
the
110.
next major one at that rate, he could keep on the 10, or I guess he could jump back on the 110 if he wanted to.
Exactly.
But
this is when you wish you could see the gas gauge right now of just how much longer?
Well, it's certainly different than the pickup truck we were covering a little bit earlier this evening, where that one was going to run out of gas a lot sooner than this one. If this looks like a rather standard 4-door sedan, then they're going to be stretching that one out for a bit, especially if you're going on the highway as opposed to in the
Stop
city.
and go.
So we got off the freeway.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Are we seeing some movement here? All right.
The Robertson area. That's the West LA area.
Okay.
So now LAPD's been notified of it. And we'll see if CHP is going to request them, which I would imagine they are. So, I mean, they're watching this also on TVs in the station, so they know exactly where this thing's at, where this pursuit's going.
You got to wonder if, CHP is hoping that this is a sign they're going to give themselves up, or is it a sign that they're just going to get right back on the freeway and go a different direction?
Even here, not on the freeways. It's still getting to
high.
Dangerous speeds with traffic all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, this is just one of those situations, too. You just hold your breath as you see these cars stopped at, stoplights and stop signs. They're still going very, very fast right now. Oh. We'll see if he tries to squeeze through. This could be the.
It certainly looks like like that person wants to.
He almost did.
Yeah. Oh, that person was being really, really heads up. The victim there in that white vehicle.
Yeah.
They could see what was going on. They pulled over, said, "Just get away from me. Just you're an accident looking for someplace to happen. It's not going to be with me. Just get away from me."
Yeah, that defensive driving, too, as we talk about, it's different when you're on these surface level streets versus the freeway, but you've always got to be aware of what's going on, especially when crazies like this have no problem.
And that's a good example
weaving back in and out.
A great way to handle the situation.
Yeah, just get out of the way.
But geez, I mean, 70+ miles an hour on roads like this with traffic at a stop and go at slow speeds. I mean, we've seen many situations where a suspect will just rear end someone because either they've stopped too quickly or haven't been paying attention, or a myriad of other factors. And now, so here we go, pulling off into an alleyway. I mean, this tends to be a situation where you start to see someone maybe try to run away from it. Yep.
Yeah, you can see CHP. It looks like they pulled off, and they could tell that.
Oh, and shut off the lights, shut off the car, and it's dark. See,
yeah, we can't even tell.
Yeah, we can't even make out what's going on.
Okay, but he's still in the car, moving around. I mean, I don't know how he's seeing anything right now. That can't be. And a lot of times too, they get out and they leave the car going, so it just coasts, and you don't even realize that they've jumped out. Did you see something in the back of the?
That's that little yellow thing in the back.
Not a head, but maybe a.
That one's been there the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Such an interesting choice to turn those lights off.
We got a black and white right behind them.
Yeah, it didn't work if that was the goal.
There it goes again.
Okay, headlights are back on.
Yep.
I really thought he was gonna make a run for
it. It did look like that. I mean, just based on previous experience, you assume in that situation, shut off lights, go in an alleyway, and in a residential area, or at least an area with a lot of buildings and a lot of avenues for escape, so to speak. That's typically when someone would jump out. But it feels, Dave, like at this point, it's sort of a scramble, right? As if the suspect is just, they know they're running out of options here.
I agree, because it looks like we're a rat trapped in a maze, and we don't know which way to go.
I mean, this is alarming to see. It looks like maybe alleyways. We saw those trash cans, obviously.
Nope. Coming at a stop here for a second.
Another weird decision they've got to make. I really thought that was somebody's driveway as well, which would obviously be a dead end, but you got to wonder if they're familiar with this area, if this is an area that they know well, or if they're just kind of hoping for the best at this point. Let's see, they're turning their lights off again.
Behind a tree from there you go. There's one person.
Now, is he giving himself up? What's he doing?
Okay.
Oh, and there he goes.
Run for it.
It looks like a horizontally striped shirt, baseball cap, dark pants, white tennis.
Something's in his hand. Is it the keys?
And there he goes.
Okay, we have no idea what we're chasing right now. We have no idea if this guy's got a weapon, if he's running from a 187, a burglary, whatever.
Oh, and there's their officers
right there. Oh.
And they're going to get
Boom. Okay, we're going down.
And in the middle of traffic, too.
Wow.
I mean,
in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
All right. So
almost looked like he either, dropped whatever was carrying.
But still fighting those officers all the way to the ground. Wow.
A lot to make of at the moment.
If you notice, it looks like CHP requested LAPD on it, but CHP is going to follow the course because this is probably their caper, so they'll end up making the arrest. But I mean, once again, this is one of those things where it just goes on and on and on. But thank goodness nobody was hurt. No civilians were hurt. Law enforcement did as much as they could to keep the public safe.
It was really nerve-wracking there for a bit, Dave. I mean, especially not just at the 100+ miles per hour for an extended period of time on the freeway, but even just there at the very, very end where this person's running into the middle of the street, and it's not law enforcement vehicles that he's running into. It's just traffic on a Saturday night that is roaming around and has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, well, it's all righty. Well, he's probably in custody, so they're going to go back. They'll go back and check out the vehicle to make sure there's not a body in it and stuff. The trunk. They'll do all that stuff now that they got this guy in custody. And finally, get his identification and just talk to him and say, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah. And surely if there's more that they've learned in the process of this, we're taking a look here on the right side of your screen when he jumps out of that vehicle, kind of starts jogging before then really picking up speed. And
also almost looked like he locked the car.
Had something in his hand, which was worrying, me as he's looking around. And then watch him as he actually tries to run past either a CHP or an LAPD cruiser at one point here before they eventually, as you saw, take him down, take him to the ground, take him into custody. Yeah.
Well, Dave, we appreciate you so much for giving us your time on a Saturday night, not once but twice.
Wow, what a treat for us.
Yeah, what a night indeed on two pursuit suspects taken into custody on a very busy Saturday night. Dave, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thanks,
you will
Dave.
take care now. Bye-bye.
All right, well, we'll continue to monitor this here from the newsroom, but in the meantime, we do want to thank you for joining us this evening. Remember, we are streaming 24/7 on CBS News Los Angeles.
Yeah, we will now return to your regular programming already in progress. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Have a great weekend.